Welcome to Bookmarked Conversations. This is our episode 6 of Bookmarked Conversations with Penny. Today I have a public guest. You can see Juliette Mnqeta. We're going to be talking about a book, If the Dead Could Talk. Okay, so guys, please just stay tuned to our episode. Please just keep those notifications open as we'll be diving into the conversation with her about the book and about her in general. She's such an interesting lady. I'm glad that finally she's here. We did cancel a few weeks back, but she's here today, and I'm very, very happy that you're here, Juliette. Thank you so much. She goes by the name of Jules, but she's Juliette. Thank you so much for coming to Bookmarked Conversations. We appreciate making time.
Thank you so much.
So welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. Thank you.
So we'll be talking about your book, this one here, but we just want to know more about you as well. So I'm not going to focus a lot on your book. Yes, you'll tell us a little bit about your book, about why you wrote your book. There's a lot of those questions, but then we'll get to them. But also I want to know more about you, because when I saw that you're on News 24 as well, So so there's a lot going on in your life, and we are very, very interested to know about it. Okay.
All right.
My first question is to you. I just want to know, for people who have not read your book, let's just start with the book. People who have not read your book, what can they expect from your book?
Well, I'm hoping that they would get a nice whodunit experience, a nice sort of, when they're looking, they can also play the detective a bit, along with my two protagonists, Azania and Florian.
Yeah.
So I've always wanted to give people that as they're looking at the crime scene and looking at the suspects, they keep guessing who did it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Yes.
Whether I achieve it is something else, but that's really what I want. A very good whodunit.
Yes, a whodunit. Okay, well, that's my genre.
Is it?
I love crime, thrillers. I love that. I love that. Fiction, it's just me.
Wow,
I love that.
me too.
And now before we even get to your book, give us an introduction about yourself, what you do. There's a lot. I saw there's a lot. But just tell us what you do, your career, what made you write the book as well. We get to that. Maybe just start telling us about yourself, because I think a lot of that, what you do on a daily basis, is actually what prompted you to actually write the book. I might be wrong, but maybe some of it comes from there. So maybe just tell us about you. What do you do? What you're passionate about, then we'll get to why you wrote the book.
Okay, so a little bit of a background history. I was born and raised in Cape Town, come from a place called Eguguletu. And I was just telling the crew, I am a typical Cape Townian. Born and raised in Cape Town, only know a bit of Afrikaans, fully English, Xhosa. And when a person comes and they visit Cape Town, that person will know more of Cape Town in 2 weeks than we do of Cape Town, because we don't travel.
Oh, wow.
So I'm the type of typical Cape Townian who's just living there and it doesn't see the beauty around it.
And
so
that's beautiful. Cape Town is beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It's stunning. I only realized that just when I went back for a visit for the St. Oysterfest. And I looked and I haven't seen Table Mountain. I've been there 26 years before I left Cape Town. And it was the first time I noticed Table Mountain. And it is so big to miss. So that's, that's my background.
It's a tourist attraction, but you live there, but you don't go
Yes, yeah, I think that's...
You know what? It's the same thing as in KZN. I'm from KZN.
Oh.
So KZN, we have a beach, right? But then people will tend to go when visitors come in, when tourists come in, when it's like peak season, like December and all those, then they will only go that time. So why they don't go during the year, I don't know. So same as you now. You in Cape Town, but you have such a beautiful attraction, but you stay and don't visit it. You only visit recently.
It is. I think just when you grow up in a place and you just have to go to school and your parents are working and it's just life. It doesn't make us stop and see the beauty around us. So I think that's what has happened. But everyone is crazy about Cape Town. But that's my background story. And in terms of career, I'm I'm a translator and a transcriptionist. More of a transcriptionist than a translator, but I do basic translation. English to Xhosa into
we
English.
want to know where you do that. Where do you do that?
I'm a freelancer.
You're a freelancer.
I'm a freelancer, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm out there, and the clients come to me, and that's what I do for them. Then in terms of transcription, because when people see legal transcriptionists,
Yes. I'm interested in that.
and then they see the crime.
Yes.
The only thing that bonds me with that or unites me is how to use dialogue as a transcriptionist, because you listen to people how they speak on a daily basis, because we don't hear how we sound. So that helped me in how I formed the dialogue in this book and in general when I write.
Yes.
But I do more, not criminal cases. I've only ever done 2 criminal cases in my life, but I do more labor law. So when people find that out, they're like, oh, but then how did you get to crime? I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I just like killing people on paper. But but I must say with the transcribing, that has helped when it comes to being able to make dialogue natural when you write.
Yes.
So that was a boost.
Okay, so tell us about your book, If the Dead Could Talk.
If the Dead Could Talk.
Yep.
Yes, my very first book. Started writing it in 2018, but not seriously. I just had this idea in mind because I fell in love with the crime genre when I first came across an adaptation of Agatha Christie. Now she is like the queen of whodunits.
Okay.
So when I would see that she's collected all the suspects in the room, and then she goes one by one that you had a motive, and you had a motive,
yes.
and you had a motive,
Who did it?
and you're like,
Yeah.
and then at the end you're like, it's the least likely person who did it, but then it kind of makes sense. That's how I fell in love with the crime genre, and I started writing If the Dead Could Talk, not seriously. And I had a self-esteem issue. I thought, I'm never going to take this to a publisher.
Yeah.
I want to save up a lot of money and self-publish. Because I couldn't. I've got a general fear of rejection in general. So imagine now with something that you do love, which is writing, and someone says, no, thank you. Yes. So that's what I didn't want. So I started writing it and write, stop. Then COVID hit, and I started writing it seriously because I was at home.
Yep.
Couldn't go anywhere. And I finished it around about end of COVID. Told a friend of mine that I wanted to get it self-published. And she looked at us like, and she's, why don't you try and send it to Quella? You know, just try, because I think it might have a chance. It's a bit fresh, We haven't seen these characters. We haven't seen there's very few, Black female crime writers in South Africa.
100%.
I think the only one actually is Angela Makolo, and I love her. Love Angela. Can't wait to meet her.
Yes.
Let's hook us up. So I sent it to Quella. They looked at it and they're like, wow, it's got potential. And then what they did is they sent me to the Jakes Gerwel Foundation.
Okay.
And that foundation, it assists authors in polishing the manuscript. So that when it
gets to them,
gets back to the publisher,
yes.
At least it's something, so it was lovely that they didn't just say no. They said there is potential, but no, she does need
Someone
a bit of guidance. She does need a bit of guidance of how you write crime. And I got assistance and then sent it back to Quella afterward. And then they were excited about it. And here it is.
Wow, here it is. Okay, so tell us about the book. Okay, but backtrack on that. You spoke about the publishers, like you were scared of rejection, right?
Yes.
So have you maybe, the reason why you were scared, right, to go to them, was it because of something you heard about the publishers, or did you do your research first about them? What are their expectations and those kind of things?
Yeah.
Or you were just like scared?
Yeah, lovely question. I wrote in my late teens, early 20s. I don't know where that manuscript went, but it wasn't even a crime novel. It was more of a love story. And it got rejected by one publisher. And I thought, never again. And if we knew like...
Wait, let me ask you something. So if you get rejected by a publisher, right? So what comes is like, sorry, it's like if you're applying for a job, it's like you were unsuccessful. So tell me, what do they say?
It's a very sweet letter.
What
they usually say, "We regret to inform you that your manuscript," something like that, but very, very, very nicely put. Very nice.
Okay.
And then if the publisher's nice, they just, because the one I sent it to, I won't say any names, when I was young.
Yes.
And they just gave me some advice that the characters need a bit of more development.
Okay.
And try to show more than instead of telling us.
Okay.
So I was like, no, never again.
Okay.
But then a few other things happened in life, and I just stopped writing completely. And then this one with If the Dead Could Talk. Oh, I actually did If the Dead Could Talk. Sent it to one publishing house in America. Just saw it in somebody's book, and I thought, let me try them.
Yes.
And they also sent a regret letter.
Yeah.
But then Kwela was the second one.
The good thing is they respond.
They respond.
Imagine
they
if
respond.
they just don't respond.
Yeah, I've heard of stories of people not getting anything back. I've heard of people saying, "Oh, it's incredibly difficult to publish. Out of 100 people, only 95 get taken." And saying that to a person who's already got a confidence issue, you tell yourself that definitely when you're the 95, who's going to give you a chance?
Yes.
So, hearing that as well.
Yeah.
But I was very fortunate, I must say, that they saw the potential and gave me a chance to fix the manuscript.
Yeah. I'm happy for you, because there's the routes that people normally will take. You understand? What I'm trying to explain is, if then you saying you took your book to them, and then they said to you, okay, you need to fine tune here, like do this, your character, blah blah. It needs some work. Then some people will just take it and say it's good enough. I'm sorry. Then they go self-publish. So for you decided to actually go the route and follow the route because it was important for you.
Yes.
To actually have a publisher.
Yeah, to have that validation.
Because you know what, exactly. Because you could have easily just like, okay, sharp. And then you can just like go self-publish because it's easy to do that.
Yeah.
But you decided to follow that path, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, but self-publishing, hey, I take my hat off to self-publishers. Because I think there was a thinking a while back that people who self-publish are people who've been rejected too many times or weren't good enough to be taken. But there's quite a lot of good self-published books out there.
Yeah,
very
doing
good,
very,
excellent.
very well.
They're doing very, very well.
Yeah.
And I probably would have gone that route as well if I had the money, because editors are expensive. Book covers are expensive. Typesetting is expensive. Marketing is expensive.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm glad though. For me personally, perhaps for somebody else, it wouldn't have made a difference to get the validation or not. Some people are naturally confident that even if they self-publish, they know they have a confidence in themselves. But I think for me, I probably would always still doubt because it's just me, how I am.
Going traditional publishing. I think also with the self-publishing, it's also gaining popularity. Also because of the readers, the social media platforms and those kind of things, people are getting validation there as well. So if then the readers are saying that this is good, you understand, then they go to the markets with those books. And they do well, you understand, because they already have their audience already that they are taking through with them to that space. So I think that's why some of them are successful, but then find some of them also not successful because they've been rejected a couple of times, and then they feel like, okay, this is the self-publishing. But with me personally, I think if I want to be published and then I take my book to different publishers, maybe let's just say 5, take 5 publishers, take my book there and I'm rejected by all 5. And then I go, I wouldn't, I'm telling you, this is me.
Oh, you wouldn't go.
I would not go self-publish because I think if it's 5 publishers that have rejected my book, I'm sorry. I think it will do something to me. You understand?
Yeah.
Like, same as what you were saying.
I think
It will
so.
definitely do something to me. I will not go the route of self-publishing. Maybe if I go to 1 and then I decide it's okay. Then.
Yes.
But 5, I will really think something is definitely not right. I don't.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying people maybe rejected 10 times and they go self-publish and they make it. It's okay. That's for them. But I'm just saying for me, I feel more or less the same as you. I will try, and then if it doesn't work, then I'll come back. And then
Yes.
say, is there something that I need to fix? You know, it can't be 5 people rejecting me,
Yeah.
for the same thing.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of creative writing. You have all these different characters with different temperaments, all writing, but they're different. Some are more sensitive, some are more resilient. They're all writers at the end of the day, and
Yes.
it's lovely that there's all these branches that they can branch out
Exactly.
to. So it's nice to have those people who are more resilient, who believe in their book, and their book is genuinely good. But for some reason or other, the publisher felt we can't market this just yet. It's not, or
It's
for
not
whatever it
ready.
is. It's not ready
yet.
Yeah, and the audience loves it. And then there's those who perhaps, who just in general have a low self-esteem, and it's just it's better for them if somebody says yes the first time or the second time or
Yes.
something like that. So
Yes. Yeah.
writers are they're a strange bunch, but an interesting bunch.
Interesting bunch. I think if it's like we must not what's this? We must leave people who want to go the traditional route publishing.
Yeah.
If it's for you, then work on your craft, If they're
Yes.
saying they're rejecting you, work on it until it's
Yes.
right. If that is what's important for you.
Yes.
And I'm excited because I'll have a podcast with the publishers.
Oh, wow.
Some publishers are coming to the podcast, and
Oh, that'll be
we will
exciting.
we'll be asking those questions. We want
Yeah.
to know, because most writers will say so many things. So
Yeah.
I will send maybe a survey to them and ask them their thoughts, on publishing. Why did they go self-publish or whatever? Then I'll get different views from them. So now I'm
Wow.
bringing the sauce, like, if I can put it like
That's
that.
going to be an exciting episode. I tell you, that's
We
going to
want
be.
we want to hear from them. So tell us about your book a little bit. For somebody who's going to the shop now to go get your book, don't spoil it for them.
Okay.
Just tell us a little bit about it. The book, like as if somebody's looking at the back of the book, back cover. What
Okay.
is your book about?
So the killer is, this is who done it. No, I'm joking.
No, I'm saying this because
I gave it away.
for me, when I looked at the cover of your book, so I always say this thing to everybody that the cover of the cover of the book or the summary, even sometimes the summary will say the wrong thing, but the cover and the wording in front of the book, the title of the book, what it
Yeah.
is, and the cover and everything, it says a lot about the book. So if I read, looking at your book, looking at the title, I said, okay, if the dead could talk. Okay, so now I'm thinking, okay, first thing is this now. I'm thinking maybe there's something that is, maybe somebody died with a secret. You understand? There's a secret that the person died with.
Yeah.
And now we are saying that person died with that secret. I'm
Yes.
talking as a reader.
Yeah.
And then maybe this person died with the secret. And then now we are saying if the dead could talk, they can actually, or maybe something happened to that person and we wish that that person can stand up for themselves
Yes.
and talk. If you
Yeah.
get what I mean.
Yeah.
So without even reading the book. So that is my
Yeah.
perception of your book. So
Yeah.
tell us what the book is really about.
I'm glad you said that. Now you've boosted my confidence, because that's the reaction I wanted from people. Because really, one of my characters does say, if only the dead could talk, if only they could ask Uleftuma, the gentleman who's been murdered in my book, what happened? And then another character responds and says, then there wouldn't be a need for detectives. Because then the person would just tell you who did it and why and
and
whatnot.
then that would be it.
And that
Yes,
would be
yes,
it.
yes.
But if the dead could talk, as I said before, it is a whodunit. So I wanted people to get that feeling of they've got the suspect and to find out who did it and feel like they're in the story and trying to solve it along with Florian Walter. But it is about a young woman called Azania Sitosa. She was raised by a single mom. And then she she didn't know her father. He's never made contact, but he provided financially.
Yes.
And she was sort of raised to kind of accept from her mother and her mother's side that don't ask questions. Which is what a lot of Xhosa families are like. Don't go asking where you shouldn't be asking. And why, you know?
Yes.
So she never did. And then one day she gets a call that he's just passed away and he's left everything in her name.
Wow.
So the first question she has in her mind, okay, so how did he die? The police say it's a suicide. And it's like, this does not make sense. So for 26 years, he provides everything for me. Then one day, dude just sits down and shoots himself. Something is
not
is
right.
not.
Yeah.
And because she's more like her father, even though she's never met him, she's more like her father personality-wise. She's naturally curious.
Yes.
She starts the tour or the process of searching for her father's killer, and she meets with Detective Florian Walter, who's also got a past. They make a team and they try to find out who actually killed this gentleman and why he was killed.
Yep.
Because that's another thing as well. You know, we want to find out, okay, somebody died, but why? People don't just die for no reason.
Yes.
There's always something. Was it an accident? And in the accident, why did the accident occur? So if only the dead could talk, they would tell us all of that.
Exactly, all of that.
And people would get closure.
Exactly.
I
I'm
know.
telling you. That's why your book is very, very interesting. For somebody who has not read even the book, the topic outside will catch you, basically when you are passing at the bookstore. It'll be like, okay, wait, what is this?
Yeah.
Because I think anyone wants to know the answers to that question. Anyone knows somebody who wants to know the answer to the question.
Yes.
In life. In
Yeah.
life.
Especially with violent crimes that have taken people's lives.
Yes.
Yes. You want to know, especially with the crime in South Africa, somebody takes somebody's life. One was had a family.
Exactly.
Did you not? Maybe if you thought this person I'm going to shoot is a mother of 2 kids and she's got a husband, would you do it?
Or if it's a crime that's not solved. If it's a crime that's not solved, we have so many in South Africa that are not solved.
Yeah, and South Africans are interested.
Exactly. So if there's a crime that's not solved, you will wish also.
If they did.
Stop all these court cases. I know.
Yes, and we watch these court cases live, and we always like, somebody must say something.
Yes.
Somebody knows what happened.
Somebody
so
knows.
if the one person who knows is the one who's
no
more.
There's no more. Exactly. That's why I'm saying you should be very, very proud. Very, very proud of your book.
Thank
because
you.
honestly, it catches the eye. It makes you ask those questions that man, I want to know about this, and I want to know about this.
Sure.
What's going on here?
I must say, Kwela also did a great job with the cover. They asked the idea I wanted behind it, and I gave them the idea of perhaps have a female Azania in silhouette. Don't show her face. Yep. I don't want people to see her. I want people to imagine as I describe her and have their own imagination of Azania physically.
Was there somebody who inspired your main characters in the book? Were they people?
Yes. The very first draft of If the Dead Could Talk, Florian was more the main character. And I had Azania.
Yeah.
But Azania, I felt, was too similar to me.
Okay.
And I didn't want to put my business out there emotionally because I tend to overshare. Okay. So I was like, no, she's too similar to me. In fact, people who know me, they're like, Azania, that's definitely you. Well, you've changed the physical appearance, and you've changed the age, and you've changed the circumstances, but personality, good rules, And then my editor convinced me. She said, no, this is Azania's story to tell.
Yes.
So with the answering the question based on anybody, Azania just came naturally.
Okay.
Florian was harder to work on because it is a white male. Yeah. I've never been a white male, so I have no experience. But Azania, it was just quick. So Florian, I got a lot of help from a lot of friends, advice.
Yes.
And
then
you
do your research also.
Do my research also about him being a policeman.
Yes.
And that's why I guess If the Dead Could Talk is also not a police procedural. Like your Dion Mayer and your Mike Nicole, because I think they are better at police procedures because they've done their research properly in how the police works. I have done some research, but not enough for it to be confident that I go through all the processes of the police.
Yes.
But I did just enough so that I feel it was a little convincing. I hope. I haven't had any complaints yet.
Yes.
I remember having to do research in my earlier manuscripts, the drafts. I had Florian driving around in his own, little VW Polo, and the policeman is like, we always use duty cars. That's one thing for sure, because it's like, I need to change that.
To change this.
Yeah. But again, like
That
I said,
is very, very
Azania
important,
came a lot more. With Azania, I also had to speak with a lot of friends, because one thing that's very different with Azania and me is that my dad was present. So I don't know what it's like not to have a father there. So I have a lot of friends and
that you
family
reach out to,
and told it, well, especially girlfriends, this is what it felt. And especially sometimes in the Xhosa culture, it can be quite a thing to not be accepted by your father's family, or not even accepted, but they didn't acknowledge. Nobody came to sort of acknowledge that you're there. It can cast a shadow on a young woman quite a bit.
Yeah.
Especially with clan names. I don't know how it is with isiZulu and isiSotho and others, but I know with clan names, Xhosas are very proud of their clan names. And I love the fact that there's a new movement now where children are so proud to let themselves introduce themselves by their mother's clan names.
Oh.
In the past, there was judgment thrown on you for that.
Okay.
And that's one of the things Azania goes through, because if your father hadn't come and paid the damages or married your mother, and you introduced, for example, if I introduce myself, in my case, I am Umamiyane because I took on my father's clan name.
Okay.
He was with my mother, Umamiya. So usually you Xhosa people, we love that Umamni, because that's how you start off. Mamiya, Umama, Mampele. Then you start going to your grandparents and all of that. It's a sort of a nice play. But sometimes I have some friends who'd feel awkward when they ask. I'm making an example again about myself. If, let's say, my parents hadn't been together, Mamiya, Umamako, Mamiya, and they suddenly like, so when nobody says anything, but there's the obvious. But the fact that you're not using your father's clan name says a lot. And I'm so glad there's a new movement now where children like, it doesn't matter, it doesn't define me, and my mother raised me.
Yes.
I'm going to own it.
Yes. This is amazing. That's nice.
So there's a bit of that in the
Okay, so anyways, congratulations also on News 20. We were on News 24 recently, ne?
It was a review, I think.
It was a review.
It was a review.
You were not there?
No, nothing like, but somebody wrote a review.
Okay, so they were talking about your book.
Yes, yeah. So,
congratulations on that then.
Thank you. I couldn't believe they were writing about me. You know this thing of having imposter syndrome, you're like, did they get the right book? It is Juliette.
Is it me?
It is Mnqeta. It is that cover. Oh, it is the right book.
But you know what? The good thing is the genre that you're writing on, these type of books, they quickly get themselves onto the big screen. You know that?
Yeah.
They do.
I never thought of it that way.
Yes. Imagine when you see Jules' book, based on.
Yeah.
And then we'll say we know you. We interviewed you one day.
I started out here.
Yeah, you started out, when you are standing there, when you see your name up there.
Yeah.
Okay, in 2022, you were part of a group of writers at Powlett House, and you were part of the Boxback book, Writing Residency. How did you come to hear of this residency, and what made you become part of it?
Yeah, so that is a residency that Kwela sent me to.
Okay.
So I hadn't heard of them before.
Yes.
And it's lovely because they take 4 authors all in all, and 4 authors go to Somerset East for 4 weekends in the year. So out of the 4 authors, there's always 2 who are writing in Afrikaans and 2 who are writing in English. And it was lovely. It was the first time I felt I found my tribe.
Oh, wow.
Because being a writer is incredibly lonely. because you think differently, you experience things differently.
Yes.
And the rest of people around you, they might like to read, but they might not be creatives in that sense.
Yes.
And so, especially if you're a fiction writer, you don't, you feel a little misunderstood. You feel that people make allowances for you, but they don't really understand. And being in a space like that, when you're surrounded by writers who are also writing fiction,
Yep.
even if it's a different language, it's amazing. You feel like, you can do this.
You can do this.
Yeah.
It's more like a coaching type of thing, more so, because there is one publisher. I mean, I got to know with this whole books thingy. Then I got to understand different types of publishing as well. So when I interviewed someone that I thought had a publishing house, but then it was a different type of publishing. So she was saying that, no, I'm not a publisher, a traditional publisher. However, I bring you bring your book to me, then I read it, then I coach you to actually have your book right, basically.
Yes.
And then after that, you can just take your book anywhere you want to.
Yes.
So it's more like you can go self-publish. Then she just lets you go like that. So it's
exactly like that. I wish there were more programs like that.
Yes. So she does that. So she calls herself a publisher, but then she's not a publisher per se. She's like, I can call it like a coaching publisher, if you get what I mean.
Yes.
Because then it's like you are self-published at the end of the day. She doesn't form part of anything in terms of your book.
Wow,
you go with it. So it's more or less the same as this program.
Yes, amazing program.
Yeah.
It's an amazing program because they coach you. And the lovely thing is, Angela Briggs, the mentor I have, we still keep in contact. We're quite close. She's like a big sister. But the lovely thing about when they mentor you, they don't take your voice away.
Okay.
Because it's so easy to... when you're trying to help somebody write, you put your voice above them.
You want to change the direction.
Yes.
Also. That's what sometimes I think, like that's what happens with the writers. That if somebody's coaching you, then the direction of where you want it to go with your book, then you can somehow take a different direction because that person sees it differently than you. And there's nothing you can do about it.
There's nothing. But she is very good at reading characters and finding out, reading my character, who I am, and she made that shine through.
Yes.
She didn't bring out Angela. She brought out Juliette, which she had to first kind of learn what kind of person I am.
You are. Yes.
So that she hones that instead of replacing it with something completely different.
Exactly. That's amazing. That's nice. That's nice. So you're still keeping contact with those people?
Yes, definitely. I love them.
Yeah, because it was not a short program. It's not like 3 months. It's a long time you guys were together.
Yeah, it's a year. It's a year. But it's only 4 weeks, 4 weekends in the year.
4 weekends in the year. Oh,
but 4 weekends in the year. But you form friendships and bonds. And we support each other. When you're feeling down about your writing, because you all get that feeling of, I shouldn't be doing this. There's always somebody who's in a hype. They're like, yes, guys, we can do this. And then when they're down, it's their turn to be lifted up.
Yes.
So we take turns to lift each other up.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. We need those in life.
Yeah.
You need it. Can be lonely. Yeah. So you really do need. I saw in your Instagram bio that you wrote Agatha Christie fan.
Yeah.
And in your interviews, I also saw you mention that she really piqued your interest in crime.
Definitely.
How so?
Yeah. So when I was younger, I loved Jane Austen, whose romance. Okay, so I was like the whole
That's what
writing
I was going to ask you, that this decision, if you're going to write another book in future, that's what I was going to ask you. If you were going to be sticking onto crime, or you seeing yourself exploring to other genres. But we'll get to that later.
I'm just drawn to crime.
Yeah.
I'm not a criminal, but I'm drawn to crime. I am really drawn to puzzles. But I know I haven't robbed anybody. And all the killing is on paper, I'm assuring everybody.
Yeah,
you know what they say at the end, those disclosures, no animals or anything have been hurt in the process. But I loved Jane Austen. I loved romance. And then I met my Mr. Darcy.
Yes.
And, fell in love, got married. And then suddenly when I discovered Agatha Christie, there was a 360 change. I feel I've got enough romance in my life.
To write about it.
So now I'm actually really drawn to solving puzzles. I love that. I think in general South Africans love finding answers to things. And the crime genre, I'm not putting down any other genres, but one thing, the crime genre will give you that thrill.
Yes.
Whether it's a whodunit, whether it's a thriller. I don't really do horror, but all of those subgenres, they will give you that thrill of trying to solve something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the suspense as well. That's
The
what we
suspense,
like,
yes.
And the suspense. So crime and suspense. We don't want you to tell us. We want to think about it, and then just when we feel thinking that we are figuring it out, we know who it is, and then it's not.
Yeah.
That's basically what we want as readers.
Yeah.
I always say that people must always think about that we don't want something that is predictable.
Yes.
So write something that it's a crime, like story that we are solving in our own minds, but then you are taking a different tone. You're like, oh shucks, when you speak to that. That's what I like. That's basically what I like. Okay, by profession, you're a legal transcriptionist, right?
Yeah.
That you told us at the labor court, and is a translator, which are careers that are very heavy in literature and require you to read a lot and write to improve. Is there a specific reason you went into legal transcription and translation in Xhosa?
Yes, I'm Xhosa, and many people are surprised because I am Xhosa, but I grew up speaking a lot of English. But el coconut eli, so we're not supposed to apparently say that word anymore, actually.
Yeah.
But with transcribing it, when I first began, I was doing for students, academic students who wanted to do their PhDs. And one company asked me to do a labor transcript, and that's how I started, just by that. So I didn't study law or anything. I had an interest.
I thought you did.
I just,
When I was reading your bio, everything, I was thinking that you are into law at the beginning. I thought you
No, I do enjoy, though, reading about law. And I think reading about law helps in being able to write crime, because the law is trying to get to the truth and trying to get justice.
Yes.
For either party, because there's always two parties who are arguing their case.
Yeah.
Sometimes one looks very, very guilty, but somehow the lawyer or the representative can argue them out. I mean, there's a small loophole somewhere where he could be innocent. So should we really be judging him? So the law is so unique that you're trying to get justice, and you're trying to get the one individual to pay damages or whatever they've done for what they've done to the other individual, whether it's in monetary compensation, whether it's in time in jail. But people need to answer for the things that they do. And that's law in general, whether it's labor law, whether it's criminal law, whether it's family law, but there must be an equilibrium.
In a criminal law case?
I've typed one. I've typed two. And I don't want to ever type them again. I like imagining crime. But I think the ones that I have, it's something I wouldn't go down, because those were actually rape cases.
Okay.
And it sounds horrible.
I was ask you the thing that how do you feel when you are there, you're typing and whatever, and you are listening to the debate, obviously, from the two parties that you were just mentioning now, the sides trying to defend or whatever the case may be, and you are sitting there and you are typing, and remember, your mind also, you are a writer at the same time. So you are listening to this and you are thinking, is this no, this is not right, basically something like that. So did it ever occur to you when we're sitting there? I'm trying to think if it was me, and I'm like listening to, maybe it's Penny who is representing this criminal, whatever, and I'm good at talking. So I'm talking, and then this person is getting away with me.
Yes, I've had that.
I can't. I'm scared of that.
Which is sad with sexual harassment cases, especially at work. Some of the representatives for the culprit are very good.
You see? That's what I was saying. And people get away with that.
Sure. Yeah. At the end of the day, this is very sad, but it all comes down to how good your representation is. If you have been wronged as the woman, if you happen to have a representative that's very weak,
exactly.
Which is, it's terribly. Anyway.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking if it was me, I'm sitting there in court. I'm not part of the legal team, obviously.
Yes.
I'm doing what you are doing. And then now I can hear that, you know what, these people are going to win the case. And because of their representative being good, it doesn't mean that they're innocent, but they are good.
Yeah, they're just good.
There's
something else I've also picked up is just looking at, I suppose, the justice system. On all government systems, there is a lack of money, I guess, or we don't know where the money goes.
Yeah.
So there are some services that they don't provide for because they claim or trying to save money. And one of those, and I think it's very dangerous, is not supplying proper qualified interpreters. Kwezinye.
So when a person will be translating something that's wrong.
Yeah, Bantu. You know, it's, especially with the small labor court cases, they'll call maybe somebody who, for example, who's just cleaning them. They're like, yes, as course, which is very different.
Yeah.
It's different to know a language and be proficient in one and be able to communicate, but to now interpret somebody else's thoughts in the language adequately, that's a skill. But people think simply because you can speak the language, anybody can interpret anything. But I've typed a case once. Now this was a rape case, and I'm so glad this lady, this victim, was so fortunate that the judge was a Xhosa speaker.
Yeah.
She was very fortunate.
Oh, wow.
Because the gentleman who was interpreting for her
was saying the wrong things.
Yeah, Bantu. And eventually she, because another interesting thing about transcribing, and not a stenographer in court, they different. A stenographer in court, they've got their own live machine and they've got their own keys, set of keys that they type, which is different to the QWERTY keyboard machine. But as transcribers, we've been asked to transcribe what the interpreter says.
Yes. Okay.
Don't transcribe, even if you know it's Xhosa and you hear Losisi said this.
Yep.
Don't transcribe that. Transcribe what the interpreter said.
Yes. Okay.
I think the justice system is also trying to save money, that they don't want to look for a translator now.
Yes.
Because remember, if I'm going to type it in his Xhosa, it's going to be sent to a translator. So now you're paying a transcriptionist, an interpreter, and a translator. So rather cut out the translator. And so I recall this one case, and I was so happy for this lady that I'm so glad, because the judge was like, Imani. Sissy, were you trying to say this? Yes. And she looked at the interpreter, sir, you need to fix that for the record.
Yep.
Oh,
wow. Imagine.
Yeah, imagine. Yeah. So anyway, law is very interesting. Even though I don't know that much about it, but I can gauge and follow enough to write crime.
No shame. We have a few of those in South Africa, so we upload you on that. We are very happy about your book. So as the author, do you see pieces of yourself in Azania?
Definitely.
I think you said you did.
I did.
Said that.
I did.
And what qualities do you share with her?
She is a little outspoken. I've become less outspoken as I grew up.
Yeah.
She's very curious. And also what I liked about her is her wanting to get justice and get to the truth. Very strong.
Yes.
Because even if I am perhaps a naturally sensitive person, but there are parts of me that are very resilient. When I believe in something, I do go through with it. And that's the parts of Azania that come out. And also she's interested in mental health. That's why she's studying psychology. Yeah. And I have a great interest in mental health. I haven't studied anything. I'm not qualified. I'm not one of those people to, give people diagnoses. Yeah. But
you feel very strongly about that.
Yes, very interested in that.
And you are the youngest of nine children.
Yes, that's why I talk so much. I was always talking over somebody or trying to get attention.
And how has that shaped you into who you are today? Coming from a big family.
Yeah, very big family. It's shaped me in that always wanting to fight for attention, but at the same time also being very protected.
Yeah.
Because out of the 9 children, there were 5 boys. So I have 5 older brothers. So that has perhaps also made me a little sensitive, because when you're very protected in your life, you can't really fight on your own.
Yeah.
And I think, that's why.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's where you're getting it from.
Yeah, that's where I get it from.
You said your mother was your biggest supporter as a writer, even when she hasn't read your writing.
Yes, yeah.
How did the encouragement and belief shape the emotional heart of your novel?
Portia is a little bit like my mother, but just very little, though, not much.
That's what I was going to say to you, that
not
do you
much.
see any reflection of your relationship with her, Azania, and other characters?
Yes, with her mom, who Azania is, how my mother was, that you don't question things.
Okay.
Because my mother had a very, very strong personality. Awubuz and Wuzaban. She had this. I hope this is okay to say it on a podcast, but I'm an 80s baby. Grew up in the 90s. Yeah. It's not the same as abantwana abakhule namhlanje, ne?
Yes.
So with going to so-called Model C school or so-called English medium schools.
Yeah.
In the 90s, doing that, it was still something very new, and a lot of parents were excited about it. So my mother was always like, I'm going to send my child to the English schools. But when I come back to the home with an English culture, yebo, sessis nges. I'm like, but mom, you said to me there.
But you said me there.
So that's that kind of cultural dynamics, because Azania as well, interesting, she went to a quite a posh school, a private school.
Yeah.
So she would have been, in the English medium schools, I would say they taught very differently. The English culture is very different to the African culture. We do have strong, independent women.
Yes.
But strong doesn't always mean very vocal. Strong can also be silent or quiet. But you're strong, you're resilient, but you're not so vocal. And I think in the English culture, you are taught to vocalize everything, question everything.
Yep.
In the African culture, you may question, but count what you question and when you question it.
When you question it, yeah.
And that for Azania, because her mother is so closer, she's a strong woman who raised her. So she isn't a weakling. She raised her on her own. So she is a strong woman.
Yes.
But Portia isn't vocal. See, she'll just do what she has to do to raise Azania.
Yes.
But now Azania is got this English culture where she wants to actually question.
Yes.
So there's a clash.
Yes, she's not allowed to.
She's not allowed to. So there are 2 strong women, but from different cultures, which means different ways of tackling a situation.
Issues and stuff like
because
that.
Because there are some things that I suppose in the English culture it's good to do, but if you dare do it in the Xhosa culture, it's very disrespectful.
Yeah.
You don't do that. So you kind of have to count your words and your time, when you can say something, when you can, and you have to kind of be clever about it and put 2 and 2 together, because it won't be told to you immediately, but you kind of okay, that's why.
Okay, so this is your first novel, obviously.
Yeah.
Are you planning to write in future? Can we expect anything else?
Yes, I used to think it was my one and only novel. But I just can't stop writing. I've got characters in my mind. I got crimes in my mind.
Yes.
That I'm going to put on paper.
So this is the beginning.
This is the beginning.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. So, but you are always going to be writing on crime.
The next one is still also going to be a crime.
How was your book received, like by the readers? Do you have a reading community that talks to you about your book, and how is that going? I
have had positive reviews, which was something surprising and something also difficult for me to accept, because when you've got imposter syndrome, you're just waiting for that one person to tell you about, girl, you're not good enough. All the times you believed you were not good enough, now I'm affirming that.
Now you are not
I'm affirming that.
Oh my God.
And
were you scared of that? I mean, negative.
I was scared of that, but it is, my brain is such a funny, and humans are so funny. we don't want to really, nobody enjoys criticism.
Yes,
That's true.
yes.
We don't. If someone
but it
says,
must be constructive. That's the thing.
as well,
So
yeah,
you
that's
cannot
true.
Be like criticize someone
for no reason.
Just say something like that.
Yes.
So it's nice to actually say, I didn't like the or I wish that you could have said this instead of that.
Yes.
Not just say a bad thing about
Yes.
this book was bad.
Yeah,
Or
this book
something
was
like
bad.
that.
Now, I was thinking that was going to come my way, that this book
No.
was bad from people, but it's been positive reviews, and sometimes when you get positive reviews, you're like, are they being honest or?
No, it's really is a nice book, and I must compliment you. Like I said before, crime fiction, we love it, and there are not so many writers in South Africa who actually are tackling on that topic.
Yeah.
And it requires a lot of research as well for you
does.
to actually say the right thing, and you've done that. And if you can do that, and there's nothing that's stopping you from writing another crime.
Oh, thanks, Penny.
For real. And we will really love to see you growing from this book to other books. And and maybe one day we see it on TV. You see, that's what I was saying to you, that the majority of the crime thrillers, I've seen them on TV, that they adapted to series and whatever, is normally crime thrillers.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that they love the most.
Yeah.
Then romance. That's the truth.
Yeah.
That's just the truth. So I just want to ask you this question now. I normally ask everyone who comes to the podcast. So you are going to write in the future your plans, basically. After this book, you are not stopping. We don't want you to stop, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in 100 years' time from now, how would you want to be remembered? If somebody, had to, ask someone who was Juliette Mnqeta, like how would you want to be remembered? Like now you're on the other side. Let's just say you can take a peek, you can see, you can listen. You can listen. How would you like to be remembered?
How I would love to be remembered is a person who just brings joy to people. I love seeing people happy. So as opposed to them saying she was a great writer, I would actually love it more if they say she was just a great person. Whenever Juliette walked into the room, we were happy. She made sure everybody was. I think sometimes, I worry, and I just love to see people happy. And that's one thing I would love people to remember. She made people happy. She loved making people feel happy, because I know what it's like not to be happy. And I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
That is how we love to be remembered. And of course, with your book, you'll be remembered. You've made your mark with the book. The book will not go anywhere. So you've already made your mark, so you mustn't worry about that. Okay, so we've come to the end of our podcast. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Juliette.
Thank you for having
making
me.
Time. Thank you so much. Guys, that is the end of our episode with Juliette Mnqeta. Please, guys, go find her book, If That Could Talk. It's an amazing book. You can find it at local bookstores, like Exclusive Book has it, and read all about her book. So we are looking forward to her other books that are coming up. So it's a challenge for you now to carry on writing. So please keep those notifications open, guys. Thank you so much, and subscribe to our channel. And we'll let you know as soon as when this podcast is coming up. Just watch our Instagrams, all our accounts, and then we will let you know when it's coming out. Okay, guys, ciao, bye.